All right. Let's get into eye patterns. So in your book, I'm pretty sure it's page 23. There will be a picture of a googly-eyed person. So far we've learnt that there's a visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory modalities, and that's how we receive information. There's also a very clear way about how we can start to interpret or understand how other people are accessing their own information. So the other day we talked about predicates, the words that suggest to us whether someone is more visually inclined or auditorily inclined or kinesthetically inclined. So if you were having a conversation with someone, I see this and I picture that and I view that, etc., and they're talking about their business of how they see or view or all those, you could guess that they are very visually dominant when it comes to the way they receive things and how they communicate. If someone's all about how you hear it or listen to this and all of those sort of things, then someone is more likely to be auditory. You've figured out by now I'm very kinesthetic and I get a grip on things and I love how things feel. Mine's all about touch. Mine's all about grasp. Mine's all about anything kinesthetic. Now, another way we get to experience or view other people and check what they're doing with their own mind is through the eye patterns. So our little googly-eyed friend here is talking about a normally organized person as you look at them. I don't like the word normally. I'd like to call that a right-handed person. Okay? 90% of the population or thereabouts is right-handed, but that doesn't make us more normal than a left-handed person. Okay, so when they refer to normally organized person as you look at them, it's talking about being right-handed. All right, a majority rather than normal. Now, if I was to put this picture on my chest and take off my glasses so you can actually see my eyeballs, this will tell you where I'm accessing things by which way my eyes go. Okay, so up the top here, visual recall. If I go this way, visual construct. All right, so if I'm talking to you and I'm recalling something from my past, you may see me flick my eyes up top and to my left, so that way as you look at me. If I'm constructing, I'm either talking about my future, it hasn't happened yet, or I'm lying through my teeth because I'm constructing. Here, I've got auditory recall, so if I'm looking in my brain for how something sounds, I will go that way. If I'm looking to construct how it sounds, I will go that way. Now, if I'm looking down into my left, so that's what it will look like to you, I'm in my own head having a great conversation, AD. Okay, so I've got to repeat those things in my head to find the information. And kinesthetic, for those that have to go find out how it feels, down we go to my right, but that's what it looks like to you. All right, so my little googly friend here, please notice how quick the flick is. All right, the eyes will flick up or flick across and return back to you. Everything's quite fast. Okay. So So if you're not 100% sure which way it is, the way I had to learn it was stick the book on my chest. And then from there, I could go, that's recall. That's construct. That's recall. That's construct. All right. I had to literally stick the book on my chest to figure that out. All right. So I know now, if I'm recalling something, you will see my eyes flick up to recall. If I'm constructing, you'll see it flick up to construct. Okay. Now, construct is not a lie unless I'm talking about the past. Okay. So this is how you can tell whether your teenagers are lying to you. All right. We're going to have a little fun and enjoy this experience.
Sorry, could I just excuse myself for 2 minutes? I got a message saying that there is an emergency. There is a patient outside the door waiting for my associate.
Go do what you need to do.
Thank you.
Go do what you need to do. All right, I've just muted you so that way we don't hear any private conversations. All right. So these questions are in your book. And what we're going to do is ask each other said questions and see what happens to the eyes. So they're in your book, and the person who goes second is going to have already heard them. So we're hoping their eyes will still flick. What I'm going to do is spotlight Jilly and Emma, so that way you can see each other. Now, for those glasses wearing, when it's your turn to be questioned, please remove your glasses, all right? Just so we can see your eyes better. When it's your turn to ask the questions, have your glasses on so you can read the question. All right. The other thing about Zoom is if you're staring at your camera, your eyes don't move so well. All right. So I'd like you to soft gaze at your camera rather than looking at your image on the screen. All right. So this is one time we need to actually stare at where your little green dot is on your or whatever your camera is. So that way the person looking at you can see your eyes. Now, in person, this is going to be a lot easier. So your homework will be ask a few people around you some questions and watch their eyes flick around. But for the purpose of now, all right, we will be able to have a go at this. So, Jilly, given you've got glasses on, I'm going to get you to be practitioner first. Both of you unmute yourself. And Jilly, you're going to memorize the question. So when you ask it, you are paying attention to Emma's face. All right? Because if you're looking at your book, you're going to miss the eye flick, assuming it happens. All right? So just memorize one question. Ask Emma. She's going to stare loosely at her camera, and you're going to watch her image and see what happens with her eyes.
You just go through the whole lot.
Start with one and then move to the next and move to the next.
Well, there's lots of questions on here, so I just take the first one.
Yep.
Oh. Okay. Emma, what was the colour of the room you grew up in?
Blue.
What would your room look like if it was green?
Different.
Growing up, did you have a favourite pet?
No.
What would I sound like if I had Donald Duck's voice?
Funny.
Is there a poem from school you remember?
No.
Do you have a favourite beach or place that you like to go for a walk?
Yes.
Wonderful. Good. Jilly, based on what you experienced with Emma there, as a mind read, what would you suggest about Emma?
She takes a little while to process that.
Absolutely.
It's not instantaneous reply.
Yeah.
And sometimes her eyes just seem to go up straight.
That's how visual she is. She had to access everything visually, including the kinesthetic.
Oh,
She had to go look for how it felt. She had to look for how it listened or sounded. She had to look for how to reply. Yeah. So the first two questions you asked, what color was your room you grew up in? Straight over to recall. Straight there, zoom, blue. What would it look like if it was green? Straight over. From everything else, she had to look at how it sounded. She had to look at how it felt. She had to look for the poem.